For this video, we'll be discussing about the serious topic in the Philippines because right now we are still using fossil fuel to generate our power, in which it is very high cost in power production. The top three of the fossil fuel are we are still coal power plant. So though coal are not locally produced in the Philippines, so the cost is high importing from other country. Although we have limited supply that coal can be mined here, but not enough to sustainably produce with the demand of power. And also the diesel. The diesel engine or generator in which we are still importing diesel fuel from the Middle East. We don't have our own local diesel mining here. So the cost is very high. And also we have a geothermal. We have few sites which are utilizing geothermal power in which it is just producing a portion. The demand of the electricity in the Philippines is seriously because we have the most expensive per kilowatt hour of electricity in Asia. Okay? Like also we have this hydro power plant in which also we have limited spots in northern Luzon and some in Mindanao, the Maria Cristina Falls. So those talking about the energy in the Philippines or electricity, we have the most highest cost. That's why if we need to be sustainable, the demand of electricity here is very in demand and we experience frequent outages. So that's why we should start considering the nuclear power in the Philippines. That's one of the cheapest way to bring down the cost of electricity in the Philippines. Not in the Bataan, we have this nuclear power plant. It's already built, but was not running. I don't know what happened, but it was built way back, and the nuclear power plant is already standing. And I believe that if we are going to use the nuclear, then we can effectively reduce our electricity cost. And also, it will open up a new businesses. Like right now, if you're going to deploy a data center here in the Philippines, data center is one of the most energy hungry right now, but it's already in demand. If you're going to deploy a data center here in the Philippines, then it would cost much of electricity. So that's why most of the data center like Google, Facebook don't deploy their data center in the Philippines. Not only because of high electricity, but data center also requires high cooling system, very efficient cooling system. They need to be cooled down because the computers are very hot. And since the computing power is very high, then heat dissipation will be very hot also. That's why if you're going to deploy a data center here in the Philippines, then you will face two major problems: the high cost electricity and the thermal or the climate. And also, we've experienced frequent outages. So how can you sustainably deploy a very efficient data center here in the Philippines? Unlike any other countries in which neighboring countries, they are already running in a nuclear power plant. So the nuclear power plant opens up a new kind of business not only for the Filipinos, but also for the interconnection. So that's one of the major problems here in the Philippines, like the energy crisis here. Have you seen the Sikihor lately? They already declared a state of calamity because of their power crisis. Like they're experiencing power failure for about 5 hours per day, in which that is not acceptable, very unacceptable. Because doing that, you will need to run a, if your business is dependent on electricity, then the cost will be much higher because you will be running your generators just to continue the business. So I believe that's the problem here. And also, when you talk about the energy, by the way, guys, the energy is not AI replaceable. That's not AI replaceable. It's a requirement so we can run a artificial intelligence or efficient data center. So without energy, then your artificial intelligence will not be effectively in running that country. So I believe that the solution first is we need to solution the Philippine power crisis. That's the major issue. So what will be the challenges if we are going to implement the nuclear? First is you will have a head-on with the oil companies. What will happen with their business, the oil companies, if we're already running nuclear? So, their business in supplying oil in demand here in the Philippines will reduce. Not only with that, the oil company, but also the power grid company. The power grid or transmission lines is from the power generating plants. It will bring the power to the destination, like a city, the Metro Manila, the major cities, because power production is generated away from the city. That's why we have a national grid. The national grid runs from north to Mindanao. That's why how we bring electricity on the different parts of the country. So you will have the, and politics, because politics, as you have known, the oil importation is a very big market in which I don't think that clashing with them just to produce nuclear. Then the the solution in the Philippines would not only be Bataan, but we will be recommending to run a nuclear module, like small nuclear modules. Have you seen the nuclear power plant, nuclear submarine of the US? Then we can run something, a small like that, just to power a whole city. That should be considered because it's a very effective way to generate electricity through nuclear. And considering the risk, have you, it's already because of the technology, then we can have it risk calculated even more. So that's how we need to react on this power crisis in the Philippines. One way is the nuclear, and the others are solar will be not enough, but a good alternative because, yep, solar panels right now is decreasing the cost, and also we have a wind power. So we have several sites which are already running on a windmill, but the challenge is that it will consume a large area to deploy the windmills. As you can see, windmills in Bagui or Ilocos Sur are being deployed in the near the sea and the beach, but there will be no residential because of the danger it produce, and also the wildlife, because you need to clean up the area when you're going to deploy a windmill. So that's the challenge. It will eat up a lot of land area when you're going to deploy windmills. So, and I believe that the cost of the windmill is also expensive, and the maintenance, because I have a friend, shout out to Obet, who are cleaning the windmills in Ilocosor and doing his drone shots. Aprobay. Okay, so that's the different kinds of challenges in our energy crisis in the Philippines. I don't think AI will be sustainable in the near future if we don't solution this energy problem in the Philippines. So I suggest any business investors that you could possibly explore the energy sector of the Philippines, that you could solution, and just like Elon Musk, he solved a simple problem for the future, for the people. Like, he wants just to get internet connection. And the Philippines, we have this power crisis. And yeah, every every summer, the national grid always red flags, because red alert, because of the power crisis. We're like every year, that's the challenge. So recommended investors, help me solve my Philippine power crisis, and hopefully we could explore, because as you can see, the Cebu right now, we have different kinds of power plants here, like in Toledo, Naga, Sawang Calero, and also we're importing different from different grids. That's why we have this big transmission line running across from north to south of the Cebu. So, yep, I believe it's a good business if you could explore and solutionize, generate a solution. Not only that, so I hope you've learned a lot of this from video. This will be my call out to reduce the energy crisis in the Philippines. That's, I believe, one of the most important things to be solved right now, because, yeah, even me, the expensive high cost. That's why everybody, or most of the Filipinos, are already looking for an alternative solution. Like, they are deploying solar panels at their home. And also the demand of electric vehicles, which will be eventually, we will have this energy crisis problem once again, because most of the cars will be generating and will be power hungry in the near future. I believe that, guys. So let me take this as a challenge. Investors, from foreign investors, come here to the Philippines. Let's solve this energy crisis that would create a better community for the Filipinos. And yep, we have already a very good transmission line structures, but the energy production is quite expensive. That's why, yeah, help me and see you around, guys. I hope this video will reach out to the investors, and hoping they will help me solve this issue to my countrymen. See ya.